Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Jack Townsend, and Antoine Grasman. It's Graham Marshall.
Get
There you
that.
go. There you go.
that's
Yeah.
not bad, that.
There's hope yet for the Graz puns. The mystery word is still going, so if you want to play along and you don't want to know what it is, look away now.
I'm just saying. I know a nervous twitch when I see one, and Andy's little teat rub just there looked very. Yeah, he did little nipple.
I've never been nervous.
Never been like that.
I've got the best track record of the mystery word in the history of the mystery word games.
Says who?
It says him just then.
We'll have to wait and see what he has in store for us. But in the meantime, English football is back.
Yes.
Next Wednesday. When Aston Villa face Sheffield United and Man City take on Arsenal at the Etihad. Then, starting from next Friday, there are 7 days in a row of Premier League football.
Mad.
Just when you thought you might be leaving your house, they pull you right back in. That also means our Dream Team Fantasy Football game will be returning, and we'll be talking about refreshing your teams for the return of football in this episode, including injury news and some DT tips. But first, lads, how are you feeling about the return of football? Are you excited?
I am definitely. Yeah. I'm very excited. Like it's going to give my week and particularly my weekend purpose again, right?
Some structure, something to look forward to. What was it before this? Another banana bread. It's not the same.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
What about specifically, Andy? Just the football or the actual virus?
I just hope that it doesn't fall flat, because half of the reason why we get buzzing for a weekend is everything that comes with football, not just the game itself, like meeting up with friends, going to the game, having a few beers, the community aspect of it, which is arguably why a lot of fans actually do it.
Do you think people might do a little like a Zoom call? Do you think this might become a thing? Like if you can't go and see your mates, you might just get them on a Zoom
quite
call
nice.
and watch a game.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
I feel because it is about just trading blows and talking to your mates about who's playing well or who's had an absolute shocker.
Obviously, it won't be the same in the ground for the players. That's going to be very weird for them. The total lack of atmosphere. Although I suppose that's probably not a problem for some clubs, like Arsenal, for example.
Okay. All right. Quick off the bat with the insults. We're back in here with the banter.
Well, that's one of the things I have missed. Yeah,
that is true. And that's one thing that I'm like, we're all in such a rush to get back to it, obviously, because we love football, but then I've forgotten all the absolute stick I've been getting over the past few years for how poor Arsenal have been.
Taking that into account, the weird bit for me is we're not returning to a new season. It's we're going back. We're going to have to refresh ourselves and what's been going on, how badly certain teams are doing, what teams are doing amazingly. Liverpool, for instance. Which brings also that talking about Liverpool. I don't know if any of you saw a leaked video of the Premier League trophy and Liverpool's name already being on it.
What?
No.
Yeah.
No,
where?
see that.
Let me see. I'll see if I can find it.
That's got
unless I've been duped and it's a brilliant little troll.
Well, they could win it conceivably the first weekend of football if Arsenal beat Man City. So they won't, but they could.
The injury list is going to be phenomenal after this section. How's Harry Kane doing? Because surely he's probably going to lose 2 legs from this.
There's been some wonderful videos of him in training and doing absolute bits, and so I'm very much ready for that first game when he snaps both his ankles. That's what I'm expecting. Because basically. They've teased me for the last couple of weeks, Spurs, right? With all the players who we did have injured. So Son was injured and he's gone off and done his military service and he's come back and he's looking fresh. And they've teased me with all these players.
Fresh off the military service.
He had a fresh trim. I don't know if you saw him. But they've teased me with all these clips.
How's he got a fresh
as a Spurs fan, right? He's been through an awful lot of crap. All I can expect is that all of them somehow injure themselves literally in that first game.
I think Spurs are the biggest winners from lockdown, personally.
Really?
Why is that?
Well, 100% you are, yeah. Because your best 2 players weren't playing for you, and now they're both back fit.
Yeah.
You've added an absolute touch there.
It's been 3 months without football, but that's left plenty of time for you, Dream Team players, to perfect your tactics and fix up your squad. or you've just made 17 jigsaws and a mountain of banana bread instead. Regardless, and this is to our panel, I want to know, what's the first change you're going to make to your dream teams in preparation for the season returning?
Well, what's interesting is that a dream team tip is obviously getting players that are going to play in Europe, because that means they just play more games. But the issue we've got, well, obviously Spurs aren't in Europe, guys.
Yeah.
It's just because you sighed when I said Europe. I wasn't even going at you.
I knew what you meant, though. I knew what you were thinking. I knew what you meant.
No, more so. My point more being, though, is that actually there's a lot of uncertainty about European competitions. Yeah. So, for instance, I had a lot of Wolves players in my team, genuinely because Wolves were in the Europa League, and it just makes sense because they play a lot more games. As a dream team player, don't go too heavy on the European sides, because actually you're not going to even see that advantage until at least 6 weeks' time.
Because the season's that close now, the next season's that close, that actually we do want you to take it easy.
Yeah, I mean, there's also another theory, and obviously when Liverpool wrap up the title,
bold claim.
When they wrap up the title, that could give them the opportunity to protect their better players, i.e., from the actual virus, because we cannot forget that this could just all fall flat. Literally, we could get two teams both test positively in the first round of fixtures, and they can't play. I mean, a classic example was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Stoke turned up to Man United's training ground for a friendly game. Stoke's manager, Michael O'Neill, tested positive. The game got cancelled straight away. Stoke had to travel back. So, as an example, Arsenal could turn up to City ground, like Aubameyang tests positive, the game gets cancelled. Instances like that might say Liverpool, well, let's just protect our prize assets and just go, Salah, Mane, look, we're going to protect you guys. We've only got 6 games left of the season. Give the young lads some time.
Okay, lads. All right. Should we have a little look at my team?
Yeah.
And see where we're at, and then see what I like. Probably a lot of people. This is the first time coming back to a team, and I'm completely oblivious of what the correct decisions to make would be. So I've got Patricio in goal. I've got Van Dijk, Alexander. Pardon?
Great keeper.
Great keeper, yeah. But he's not always the starter, no, Patricio?
No, he is, yeah. He actually does play in all the Europa League games as well. John Ruddy just is there for...
Okay, so that's good. So I'm happy with that. Back three of Van Dijk, Trent, Alexander, and then Deeney.
Troy Deeney, is that left back?
No, not Deeney. Oh, I can't even...
Digne.
See, this is how good I am. That's probably a weak link in the back there, Digne. I expect
gets forward though on set pieces as well.
Yeah, I had him in for quite a while, but when Everton were struggling before Ancelotti came in.
Yeah.
He's not a bad pick. He's a good fan. It was just pre-Ancelotti. Everton just conceded goals.
He's a fantasy football pick. So for me, for that one, I swapped in Chilwell because Leicester started doing really well.
Okay, so then my midfield is I've got Sterling, Maddison, Mount, and Silva. And I'd say probably Mount's not getting the starts that he was at the beginning of the season, was he now? So that is probably
David Silva as well. I'd be concerned about that one. He's not getting the game time, and even when he does, he's not a guaranteed point scorer either.
No.
So for me, I'd probably be looking at what the alternatives are for Mount and Silva there. I seem to remember I brought those two in because they're good, but they're not that expensive. I think I was probably trying to make room for the fact that I've got Sterling, and I've got up top, I've got Aguero and Salah. And then Pukki. Timo Pukki had such a promising start. And I think I've actually had Pukki in from the start. And I'm wondering, like, Andy's concern about Liverpool off the boil, maybe I should be looking to offload a couple Liverpool players in
down the road once they clinch that title.
I think once they clinch it, that's the thing.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're going to be playing their full strength squad.
I'm not hearing many Arsenal players being suggested here. Am I missing something? Do you know
what are Arsenal fans like genuine in the Arsenal community? What is the genuine like hope for this little restart?
You'd have to ask an Arsenal fan, Andy.
I mean, like it's just going to be a lottery. The first week's going to be a lottery. You're going to have to just see how teams have fared, who looks the fitter, what players look sharp. You'll be able to see that straight away. Like you'll be able to see which teams have really coped well. Bournemouth reportedly have quite a few players out of contract. Some of them I think include Francis at the back, but one of them is Ryan Fraser.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, Ryan Fraser is not going to play the last few games because of, similar to Lyle Taylor, doesn't want to get injured and risk not getting a big move to, say, a top 6 team.
Liverpool can win the league on the 21st of June, provided 2 things happen. 1, they beat Everton, and 2, that Arsenal beat Man City. And as we've already discussed, probably won't be happening. But they do look set to win the league pretty much no matter what. However, other things are yet to be decided. So, what are your predictions for the rest of the season? Jack, I'll start with you.
I think it's top 4. I think it's like the battle for 4th and 5th place is the most interesting. I mean, I would love to see a Wolves or a Sheffield displace the likes of Man United more than anyone. We should probably touch on their predictions at the beginning of the season because I think I had Newcastle going down in last place at the beginning of the season.
I think you did, yeah.
I mean, Steve Bruce has done an amazing job. And as soon as the new owner comes in, he'll be unemployed, which is
a real shame.
Graz, how do you predict Spurs faring?
Just Spurs, not allowed to talk about any other teams.
You can, but as you are a Spurs fan, you are our resident Spurs expert. I
don't know about expert, but I'd like to see, like Andy said earlier, I think we're one team that has really benefited from the break. Two of our best players, 2 of our biggest goal scorers weren't playing; they were injured. That first game, Spurs Man United, is huge in the context of all of those teams fighting for that sort of 4th or 5th place. Man United currently sitting in 5th. If we do win that sort of blows that entire race open again, because suddenly that puts us up with your Wolves and your Sheffield Uniteds, and then unless they win, and that puts Wolves and Sheffield United properly in the driving seat for that position.
You've added an S on to words, by the way, Graz, don't you?
Yeah, I was just
Wolves
going to say
is Sheffield United.
This is a lot.
The Canes.
What's all that? Pluralising things.
You've been doing it a lot out of years. I've done it already in this show. And I was
today.
Just about to say it when Andy said it as well. I was like, you do that with your phones, your desks, your chairs, I
mean, nothing was wrong with that because it wasn't desks and chairs. I'm not Gollum. Like, that's a terribly normal way of speaking. And also, you I don't know. I feel like I'm getting gone at here. I don't like that.
You take the piss out of how I speak every Sim Saturday.
I now know how you feel, Jack, and I'll never do it again. I promise you right now.
Andy, what are your predictions?
Well, I mean, I've mentioned before in the show, in terms of the bottom 5-6 teams, I really fancy Villa and Watford to get out of it. Watford purely because of Troy Deeney. I just think as a captain, as a striker, he just has got that about him to just drag a team on his own. And equally Villa, they've just got a team that are just full of lads that know each other really well from the Championship season. Grealish is the main guy, loves the club, supports the club, as does the manager. I just think all of that combined is going to just create a kind of like siege mentality against every team that they play. Bournemouth, as I mentioned, the Fraser scenario is going to cast a bit of a cloud, I think, over the entire squad. I mean, they'll come out and say it doesn't affect them. Of course they will. But you're not telling me one of their best players who's been part of that club for years has kind of down tools.
I call cloud.
Jack, you're not even listening to me, are you? All you listen to
I've got nothing. I don't care.
You're just so sad. What are you listening to what I'm saying? I'm saying some good stuff here.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not.
Someone...
What did I speak about just?
Casting a cloud and downing the tools.
You didn't hear anything around that, though.
No, he's just looking
for picking out phrases.
He's downing the tools.
I want to win.
Yeah,
what player was he talking about, Jack?
Fraser.
All right, fair enough.
In terms of the top of the table, obviously, look, let's just forget the top 3. I think that's just done.
Yeah.
You don't even need to speak about that. The battle for 4th and 5th is interesting. Annoyingly, United were looking all right before the break. Bruno Fernandes, as much as he was getting overhyped, was playing really well. And if they can somehow get that Pogba-Fernandez partnership working with someone holding, because they can't have them both as just midfielders, because that's just chaos.
But they need a Kante, like the French squad was
definitely.
in the World Cup. If they get Kante, then Pogba's free to just do a lot more.
Express himself.
I think Spurs and Mourinho, I just don't know whether you've got enough yet. I just don't think Mourinho, I think you've got to give Mourinho another year or so just to let him kind of find his feet there.
Do you think he lasts another year or so?
Yeah, I think so. I think. Well, Levy's going to have invested too much money for him to just get rid of him straight away.
He's not sacking him after like a sort of pandemic interrupted season.
No.
If he can get us to a Europa League spot, Levy would consider that like a job well done. And if we're not, then it's all about next season. That would be how he'd look at it, I think.
And I think just a final point on like every team really. I don't know whether it's just me, but I feel like I'm noticing a lot of serious transfer rumours floating around. And I think it's just because, as I think, Graz, you mentioned, there's a lot of, it's so close actually till the end of the season. And there's probably going to be such a quick turnaround that these transfers are going to be much more in the players' minds than... Jack, what are you laughing at? You're just looking for a word.
Yeah.
He's messaging me here asking me, was that it?
Is he really? What an absolute misdirect if it turns out to someone be Jack now.
Imagine.
No, my point is that, I mean, for instance, I'm seeing Sane plastered all over the news today saying that he's gone to Munich. We mentioned Thiago Silva going to Wolves. I think Milan yards in front of us for the signing of that. I think Spurs. Were you in for him as well?
One of the teams mentioned.
But yeah, anyway, point is that I'm just concerned slightly about players that, you know, that are definitely looking like they're a bit bigger than the clubs they're playing for, / coming to the end of their contracts. Where's their heads going to be at?
Right. Well, I haven't heard the mystery word, but you know, there's still time yet.
Doesn't mean anything. He's going to say he said it at some point.
All right.
Let me just get the league.
Looks like Andy thinks he said it.
He's typing something to you. He definitely thinks he said it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm chatting to someone else about something completely unrelated. Oh, stop. Stop. He's just given me his explanation, and it's some more Andy Taylor. Like,
look, I've said it.
Tactics,
I'm just putting it out there. I've said it.
Andy, what was the mystery word then?
It was lanyard.
Okay, and then how did you fit that into a sentence?
So I was talking about Thiago Silva, and I said Milan yards in front of Wolves.
No,
that's not allowed. I like it. I like the thinking behind it.
The word lanyard is literally, it's come out of my mouth.
It's not, has it? Look at the word Milan.
You said Milan.
Yards ahead.
You said Milan. You said Milan yard, not lanyard. Milan.
Said
Milan yards
in front.
You said Milan yards, which isn't a thing. Milan yards. Like, it's not a thing.
Okay, so just
it's like,
is the word lanyard in what I've said? Yes or no?
The letters that make up the word lanyard are in what you said.
Yeah, but if the word
There's
is and I say sand, would you allow that?
Yeah, but it's not going to be that simple, is it? I've got
No,
a complex...
But that's the example. That's the example.
Yeah, you have said it. It would be a poor choice of word from Sean if that's the
All right, finally, it is time to pick up where we left off with our ultimate teams. Each one of us will pick our ultimate team, going from position to position with each passing week. And this week, I believe, is our final, certainly for our starting 11 squad. And we're going to be picking a second striker. So, what are you saying, guys? I'll start with you, Graz.
All right, then. So last week, I picked an unquestionable talent, an unquestionable one of the best players to ever play in the Premier League. This week, I'm going to go back to our sort of ultimate 11, slightly banter, but still absolutely talented player. He played for a lot of clubs in the Premier League. He had a career that spanned in 2 decades. QPR, Portsmouth, Villa, Norwich, Southampton, Liverpool, Portsmouth again, Spurs, Stoke, Burnley.
Peter Crouch.
It's Peter Crouch.
Crouchy.
It's Peter Crouch.
Crouch.
You're not having Crouchy.
I loved him as a player, but come on.
You're not having him.
You're putting him in the same league as Luis Suarez and.
I'm putting him in. I'm putting him in. If we can have Shawcross, we can have Crouchy.
Well, we haven't got Shawcross. Shawcross has never been mentioned on this show ever.
Who do we have? No, Hoost. Sorry.
Yeah, Hoof. What a player.
He got mentioned alongside Shawcross. Anyway, right, Crouchy. I think it's unfair that you think that he shouldn't be mentioned alongside like players like that. I mean, his goal scoring record was pretty decent, and like he scored important goals, and it played for some absolutely cracking clubs. I mean, his time at Liverpool like was the beginning of them starting to come back into prominence a little bit more. He also scored really important goals for Spurs, like in the Champions League. He scored the goal that got us into the Champions League that season. I think I read somewhere they considered the £15 million goal, which was his header against Man City, that put us into the Champions League places and put them out. His record for England as well was absolutely insane. He has one of the best like goals per game ratio of any English striker. That was for a player who quite often was coming on as a substitute, as a bit of a last ditch, oh God, let's bring on Crouchy. But I think that's because people seem to consider Crouchy as like a one-trick pony, like he's just a big lad. You put him up front and he'll knock balls down for the players to actually play. The guy could play. He is the epitome of like big man with a good touch. Lest we forget, the robot.
I mean, yeah, it's a thing of beauty.
Like, I want that in our side. I want that in this Ultimate 11. Now, we've had the pace, power and precision of Henry, but so let's have the banter, bicycle kicks and the beauty of Peter Crouch.
Go
I
ahead.
love Crouch. I just don't think he deserves to be in that bracket.
Who would you pick then, Andy?
Okay, well, in his first season, 33 games, 24 goals. This was in 2008. The second season was 24 games, 14 goals. Third season, 22 games, 18 goals. So as you can see, games played suggest that injuries are like not great for this guy. And then essentially dropped off a cliff. But for those 3 seasons, for me, he's one of the best players I've ever seen in the world in terms of strikers. He's Spanish.
Torres?
Yeah, Torres.
Oh, Torres.
Now, obviously, he's a classic case of having a fairly bang average, well, I mean, that's a bit harsh, but a fairly like not great end to his career. Even though he did pick up silverware, no denying that, and he's obviously still played for really decent sides. But
scored an important goal as well.
Yeah, but it's just not at the level he was at when he first came to the Premier League. And like, if you remember Vidic was like one of the iconic centre halves of our time, like growing up. And Torres just made him look like an idiot. Yeah. Every time we played him, he just made him look like an absolute clown. And also in season 2, you know, they finished second, and that was a season where they had Mascherano, Gerard, Alonso in that midfield 3.
Crazy.
So he was part of like a bit of a court side as well at that point. Now I know Shearer, Cole, Sherry, like there's loads of strikers that have had more longevity, but peak Torres was almost unplayable for me.
Great show. Jack, who was your pick?
In terms, Andy's gone for goals, and I'm just thinking, I mean, I don't know, I feel like Rooney should get a mention.
Yeah.
He was the best player in the world at a point. And, you know, and I love the fact that he doesn't look like your slick footballer as well. He's like, he works really hard to do what he's done, and he's scored some quality goals. He's not just a poacher. He's
got all types.
He can do it all, and like he's adapted. He's got 310 career goals, and only 29 of those are out for a non-English club.
Oh, those 3 then. If I had to pick one, I would go with Rooney as well, to be honest, out of those. Just for someone who's done it consistently.
Yeah.
In the Premier League as well, and won silverware. Right, okay. Well, that is our Ultimate 11, starting 11 anyway. We've finally done it. Well, I think that's a pretty strong team. Well, but for now, that is all from us, folks. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV. Football is back, so don't forget to fix up your Dream Team in time for the return of Premier League football. You can use our app or on our website. But yeah, get involved. Can't wait. Talk to you next week.